It's entirely up to you. All right. We are live, you guys. And I'm going to allow about a minute or so here just to let things kind of warm up a little bit. Speaking of warming up, the sun was out today, but the temperature sure wasn't.
No,
I
it was
stepped
not.
outside and I was like, "Brr." um,
Insta cold.
yeah, when I left work tonight, I was like, my ears were like super cold. And I was like, dude, this is such a downer. And I was kind of bummed about that. But Mark, I imagine Nashville is having identical conditions.
Man, it's in the mid 60s today. It was a beautiful day. I went for a jog before I went to the
That's
comic
surfing
shop.
weather,
I'm just
man.
keeping it real.
Oh my gosh, brilliant! This is amazing. Ever envious of Mark, but definitely, you guys get your own fair share of weather sometimes
Yeah,
too. So we get it. We get it. All right.
I like y'all.
All right. Well, with meteorology on the radar here, I guess we'll kick off the show. So I'll do the best I can with the best drum roll a guy can do on his glass desk. Hey, everybody, it's a comic book. Look at your boy, John on Demand here, rocking out. I don't really have an AKA except for these locks don't play, and we're ready to rock and roll tonight. Speaking of locks, I got my co-host extraordinaire, Mark, is in the building. So brother from another mother, often seen on hip-hop tracks, nerd themes such as Lenticular. Check us out. And of course, you guys, we have a very special guest this evening. He is the Hot Rod, the brand new car on the Rainbow Comics staff parking lot. And rocking and rolling, he speaks the sports, he speaks the comics, and of course, it is Sam I Am is in the building joining us. So we are so excited to have you on tonight. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a mighty fine pleasure.
Yes. So we are going to rock and roll tonight, talk some comics. If you guys want to interact with us, throw us some notes, show us some love in the comments. We love engaging in conversation. But we're going to engage with Sam here really quick.
Oh
Sam,
no.
our favorite question that we love to ask our guests, what is your origin story in comics?
That's a bit of a loaded question, I would say, because every time I think I know the origin, it just goes further back.
Sure.
It's like the story that just keeps retconning itself.
Yeah.
I guess if you were to say it starts like everybody else starts. They watch a cartoon, right? And they're like, oh, that's kind of a fun cartoon. And then you're like, oh, there's a book about it? But that's what I thought the origin was. I watched Justice League Unlimited or something, and I was like, wait, there's books? I better get on that. But it turns out I've been reading Garfield books for like 4 years before that even. So I would actually have to say Garfield comic strips was my origin. And then I realized books can be more than about lasagna or going to sleep in Mondays. So I would have to say, oddly enough, it was probably Garfield or the new strips in the papers. That would be my comics origin.
Dude, that is so crazy. I am exactly like you. I loved following those. I loved all of that. I used to clip like Calvin and Hobbes, even the Bazooka Joes, and put them in order in your notebook. And Mom, I need a new notebook. Why? Oh, because you're taping comic strips. I need more Scotch tape. Why? So I can tape my comic strips in order.
I used to put them on
Go.
the covers to my textbooks. When you had to put covers on your textbooks,
Oh,
I would put
yeah.
those on there, and I'd read a comic as I'm doing my math homework, and probably getting the question wrong, but I'm reading a comic while I'm doing it.
Can we give a shout out to textbook covers here? It's been a minute. We're talking about things that don't get shout outs tonight in love, and I think textbook covers is one of them.
You know
There was
what?
something magical about that brown paper bag for those of us that just
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
a DIY. Yeah, Mark's
And
like,
if you're
no.
really cool, you laminated
Oh, yeah.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, I was definitely down with the paper bag.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
it was like you were the cool guy.
Now I have a story about Sam here, Mark. That you may you'll
Oh, God.
appreciate it. Last week we put on YouTube the Wildcats cartoon
Oh, yes.
from the
Yeah,
90s,
from
and
the
I was
90s,
just
yeah.
like, I looked at Sam and I'm like, bro,
It was
The
rough.
biggest
real
grin on my
life?
face.
yeah. And Sam's like, I'm liking it. Like he's over here just jamming out, and I'm just like, bro, like as someone that grew up on the X-Men and the Batman, stuff, I'm just like, this is rough. It
Yeah.
is so rough.
It's definitely a smaller budget. I'll say that.
Yeah. But I just got such a kick out of that because Sam goes to bat for everything that I don't go to bat for, and that's our dialogue. And I was like, that's fantastic. So we're
It
gonna
is the
hopefully have some
hokiest
of
thing
that.
in the world, but it is so entertaining because
Yeah.
of that.
No, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough, but yeah, I
Yeah.
dig it. I love that. I love 90s comics because I was like a teenager and a kid in the 90s.
I gotta give
was
it a fair
reading
shot.
the most recent a Wildcats book and not getting any of it. I'm like, who are any of these characters? I don't know any of them.
Mm.
And then I was watching this show going like, oh, so that's kind of what they were doing over there. Okay, I get it now. All right.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'll probably find more appreciation for this comic now, watching that show a little bit.
Definitely.
We were just letting the episodes roll, man. I was like, I don't
It
know.
was great.
On YouTube,
It was great.
It's on
We
YouTube.
watched
Yeah,
like
there's
6 or
a
7 of them.
there's a channel called like Retro something that has them all, and it's pretty. You know, it's you can do like a playlist of them.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So, but yeah, I've never seen that before. And guilty pleasure or guilty admission here, I've never read any of the comics. I stalk them all the time, so I know like Warblade has his own side series, you know, and some of the other people, you know, yeah, Grifter. Shout out to Grifter.
Grifter's the coolest character.
Yeah.
Maybe after that we'll watch the Gen 13 cartoon.
Okay, I didn't know that was a thing either.
Yeah, man, that was a thing too.
Oh boy, yeah, this is gonna be a long work week, huh? I might be calling in sick tomorrow. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. I'll be there. No. So that just kind of stood out to me though, and if, for those of you that do shop at Rainbow, definitely make sure to say hi to Sam because he
I don't bite.
loves talking comics. He is quick with a recommendation for you, regardless of publisher. As long as you tell him what you're into, he's like a Rolodex of awesome recommendations. So it's really fun to listen to him, work with customers, and save the world. So we talked about your origin with comics, and we're gonna touch a little bit on tonight the main show topic. But before we hit that, kind of give us a vibe of what are you into? Like, what makes a good book for you?
Whew. I would say something that even if I don't like the direction it took, I really appreciate a book that just, this is the story. We're going with this story. And we're going to continue to elaborate on that. And it's willing to tell itself and not have to like double back later. Like that's what a lot of comics end up doing a lot of times, where I'm like, in the end of the day, you know, Captain America has to go back to being young again because he's Steve Rogers. That's who he is. I love it when a story just goes, nope, this is not what it is. The continuity stays where it's at. And it's just going to keep moving forward and forward. And that's what I really enjoy out of a book. Like, it's not afraid to make changes, not afraid to make you a little mad, not afraid to make you a little sad. That's what I was like, that's my favorite character, though. Well, I mean, that's what we were doing, though. Like, as the writer, that's what his thought processes were.
Yeah.
And him having to like double back because people got mad or whatever, that would make the story worse for me. So I like it when like a book just, this is what it is, man. This is where it's going to be going. And that, and I really love a book that I would say, I guess where it starts kind of simple, but then the story gets way crazier as it goes, which is one of my recommendations.
Oh, all right. Spoilers. All right. Well, definitely. We are excited about this topic tonight. And just so you guys know, Sam is beyond prepared. I am definitely bronze medalist this evening. Mark probably has like a whole thing in his mind too, because Mark's like the comic book Buddha. Look at that temple over there. I mean, for Pete's sake. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. So Sam, I want you to present the show topic
first?
because you no just like what are we talking about tonight, because this was your idea and I thought it was a great show topic. So hit us with the what are we up to tonight?
Well, what I thought would be a cool topic when they brought it up to me was like I thought about like what are some series that or like books that don't get the same amount of love that other things do. Like we all know that Kingdom Come is a really good story. We've all been there. We've all read that. Hopefully we've all read that. Or we all know that, I don't know, Donny Cates' Venom is awesome. We all can accept this, right? Unless we got some hot takers in the building.
We might.
But I want to know the ones that like the story that I think people are sleeping on, that we should bring more eyes to, the ones that later on people should more read. Like, are you guys familiar with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow? That book that recently came out,
An issue series.
the Tom King story. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read it, but I did hear it was really good.
See, like that book, what I enjoyed about it, because I bought it as it was going, and I was having a good time with it. But once they announced it, like, hey, we're gonna make a movie about this, everybody who didn't read it went to go pick it up and then fell in love with it. And now that book is incredibly hard to get, and I kind of love that about it. Like, people slept on it because it was a Supergirl book, which is kind of a sad thing, but you know, she doesn't sell as much as Batman does, so sometimes you're not going to get as many buyers. But once that did, that's probably going to be the highest selling Supergirl book since the 1970s, which I think is very cool. And with that story, it's going to make one hell of a movie. I'll be excited about that. So that's kind of like one of the ideas I had for like a sleeper hit, or at least a book that you think deserves a bit more recognition.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, this brings the question then of who wants to go first, and it's not going to be me because I don't know, man.
I would personally request that one of you guys go first, because
Mark,
I just want to see like how you guys do it
man.
first, so I don't end up going like, so here is my escalating list of things I thought, because I could go for days.
Yeah,
You got this. You got this. All right, Mark.
I just went ahead and grabbed one series. There was like several, but I just tried to choose one because I didn't know exactly what we were working with time-wise. So one that I've not heard anybody at all talk about. I don't know if y'all have heard of it. It's called Back to Fairtalia.
Whoa.
I've not heard of that.
No.
Really good. It's a 6-issue miniseries. I think issue 4 comes out next week, and it's put out by Invader Comics. I wouldn't say the story is like something like brand new. It's kind of on the same vibe of it's like there's like these kids, and then they get together at like, say, like an amusement park or a carnival, and then they're like taken to this like other world where they like go on adventures in Fairtalia, and they like all this like fantasy adventure type stuff, kind of like Never Ending Story, those type of stories. They have like all these adventures. And the deal is they're not supposed to tell anyone about it. But then like one of the kids ends up telling like his mom and dad about, oh, we go to this other land and like I saved the princess there and stuff like that. And then so like they think he's crazy. Then they like put him on all these meds. And then of course all the kids grow up.
They put him on Ritalin.
Yeah,
like
basically. Yeah. So
we're worried about our son.
like out of his mind. So they all grow up. One of them like becomes president of the United States, and one that like told his parents all that got put on meds. He writes books now about like the dangers of kids reading stuff like comics and fantasy and stuff like that. And then
Frederick Wortham.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then like Fairtalia it now comes back asking those same kids who are now adults to come back to Fairtalia to save Fairtalia because Fairtalia is in danger. So it's a really good book. These are the other covers for it, but I've really been enjoying this.
Yeah.
Very much like adult humor though. I think there is a cover where one of the kids is like ripped this giant's like balls off and he's like holding it up. So it's a very good comic though.
Yeah.
Really
when did that come out?
Yeah. Oh, when did it come out? I think it came out last year, maybe.
Oh, that's recent. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
November, maybe.
That completely slipped off my radar. That's crazy.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anybody talking about it, but I highly recommend it, though.
Heck yeah.
I have to go look through some old bins, see if it's there.
Yeah.
Like, so
right.
it's kind of like it in a way, if you think about
That's
it.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Is where it's like you got to come back. You got to come back to Derry.
Yep.
I think get that for Ken. I don't know.
No, like it does have that vibe to it. There's not like necessarily like a main enemy like Pennywise, but definitely the kids are all adults now, and then they have to come back and regroup and re-up with each other.
Yep.
How long is the series? How long is the series?
Oh, 6 issues.
Oh, so that's a pretty quick read then. Okay.
Yeah. And issue 4 comes out next week, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so it's still going.
Yeah.
Even. Oh, that's even better then. Then like get the word out so the sales can start reflecting what it deserves to be.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Who writes that?
Oh, let's see. I don't know like all the names, but Albert's Heap, Daedalus,
You don't have to go all the way to like the colorist or something. Like,
Cool. Nobody that I know like really, really well. It is by like Invader Comics though. So, and I've never even read anything from Invader Comics except for this.
yeah, that's my first time hearing about them. Like,
Mhm.
kind of the beauty of like sometimes comics go is it goes like there's sometimes publishers you didn't even know existed and they publish something that you loved. Like, what's another one of those? Like, there was a Wizard of Oz comic made by like EDC publications or something. I might be wrong on that, but like those are some of the best finds though. The ones where it's like that's probably self-published. This company was just made for this book. Those are some of the best finds sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Mark, that was an amazing pick actually. And
Cool.
yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome. I don't want to go next, but I don't want to go after you, Sam. I'm scared. So I guess I can go next. I am really disappointed in myself because I just thought of one after hearing Mark talk. That I guess I can do as an honorable mention and or possible alternative to
There's
what
probably
I
going to be
talked about.
alternate. They're probably going to be like my favorite A, my favorite B, my favorite C. You know, all that.
Yeah. No. I'm so annoyed I didn't think about this, and I'm really pissed off about it now. But I do have to give it up to the series that I'm thinking of is Autumnal or The Autumnal.
Oh, yeah.
I adored that. Tom and I both do, and we talk about it all the
Yeah, I've
time.
heard of that one. Yeah.
And this one is really cool because this was through Vault, and they had a kind of a horror imprint called Nightfall, where they had several stories like that. But Autumnal was definitely the most just iconic, and I just absolutely adored it. Whoa, YouTube popping in here. Mr. Aaron Evans is joining us. Good evening. Happy new comic book day. And happy new comic book day to you, my dude. Aaron, shout out to Comic Book College up in the Twin Cities area. So
Shout
fellow
out to
comic
Aaron.
book employee there. And Aaron, thank you so much for tuning in. So I just got to give a thumbnail up though as honorable mention. Just because the story just rocked my face. The artwork was gorgeous. That autumn foliage, and that's one thing I want to get up to the northeastern side of the country during fall to see
Beautiful.
that
Absolutely
because the
beautiful.
drives it sounds like it's amazing.
Unfairly beautiful.
So I'm all about it. I want to see that stuff and check it out. But the other thing that I'm really passionate about is just different aspects of the Marvel universe. And what that entails then is it boiled down to two series for me in my mind. And so the first one I'll kind of breeze over, and the other one I'll elaborate on a little bit more. First, I just got to give it up. Sabretooth and the Exiles is the second continuation. There was a Sabretooth core series before that. Granted, is this like earth shattering my mind like Autumnal did? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But what I do like in here is that the characters, it took a real ragtag group of random characters, some of which you don't even know until this book, throw them into a blender, and it just works. This follows up on the success, in my opinion, of the Hellions series, which was it involves some of the characters in this book now, like Nanny and Orphan Maker, and
that
just
one involves Sinister, doesn't it?
yeah, Mr.
Hellions?
Sinister, yeah. And it's such a delightful blend of random gobbledygoo, and the storyline on this one has been a lot of fun too. To my surprise, when I saw this was announced, I was like, this could be interesting, but we're gonna do it because we love Krakoa. But it's actually become one of my favorites, just because of the characters. So what this does is it exposes me to all these random legs of the X-Men heroes and villains, which will serve me later on, as I'm sure when I read other titles or when I go backwards and read old stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, that's Nanny's first appearance. That's crazy. This is what she's like now because I took the time to read this book. And so I really, really, really dig it. Plus, getting a deep look at Sabretooth as a character is really fascinating to me because Creed is typically kind of a dick and just kind of a gruesome one at that. And it's really fun to see him a little more vulnerable in this book. Ish, as vulnerable as he could be because
Yeah,
he's
even
still
when he
bad.
was a good guy, he was a dick.
Right. So he's just, universally kind of a dick. So,
Who does that, John?
so the creative team on this one, on the Sabretooth, and that is drumroll because I am awful with names. And they do the neat thing where the page is farther in. I don't like it. This is Victor Lavelle for writing.
Okay.
And then artist was Leonard Kirk, which I am actually loving the balance between art and writing on this one too, which makes it even more pleasing for me. So definitely love that. The other series though that I wanted to lift up, and this one I wanted to spend a little more time on, much like Sabretooth and the Exiles, Tiger Division, some of the characters have hopped title to title to title, and it drives me absolutely nuts
What
because
is that book? I saw that book.
yes,
What is it?
I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you about my gospel, the Tiger
Mhm.
Division. The Tiger Division, it's actually the MCU South Korea-based superhero team. And so
Wait,
if there's
that's a Marvel book?
that's a
I just
Marvel
thought it
book.
was just like a
No, that's a Marvel
wow.
book. And it's a lot of fun. This is issue 5, and I suspect this is wrapping it up, unfortunately. And that's been kind of the trend. So the team, not all of them, some of the team from the previous book came from New Agents of Atlas and the Atlantis Attacks event, which kind of bridged over
The old
to
one?
where we are now. No, it was actually
Okay,
fairly recent, like
okay.
in
I
the
was gonna
past
say
3
like the
years.
Atlantis stack from like the 70s or
Um,
80s.
yeah,
It's a
and
big pull.
so it's just crazy though because there's so many cool characters that they're developing from the far east side of the MCU. Well, all this other crazy stuff in the Marvels going on. A lot of people don't know about these or take the time to read them or get to know the characters. And to me, it's such a shame. I even got
Who
the
this guy,
variant.
it seems.
I love this. This features Lady Bright. We have White Fox, I believe, and then Luna Snow is in the middle there. And Luna Snow is a K-pop performer. She actually has her own K-pop singles on the Marvel website that you can listen to, which I adore that they
So
took the time to
fitting.
do that. It's brilliant. But ultimately, it's just the New Agents of Atlas truly was a fun team, and I wish that we would have seen more out of them. Um, but it makes me happy to see some of the characters' stories continue to get told through these books. And so my main point with this is that if you guys ever have the opportunity to learn more about the Winter Guard from Russia, that's
Got
the
that.
Russian team. We have Alpha Flight from Canada. Definitely get to know them. We now have Tiger Division and New Agents of Atlas. Big Hero 6 is another one. Just take time, get to know these teams because there's some real cool characters and rich stories in there. And there's been some early cameos in some of these books that you wouldn't see coming. The Winter Guard, as an example, I think was a Hulk one. There's covers where Hulk's going up against Ursa Major, the guy that turns into a bear. And it's so crazy seeing this stuff from like the 70s, 80s, whatever. And it just makes me happy. So there's a rich history to Marvel that isn't celebrated as much, and I feel like it should be because there's some really cool stories to tell. I also like all the new characters they're bringing in. Lady Bright, as an example, with her like tarot card kind of ability, is really neat to me. So I like the celebration of old and new, and I highly recommend it. So
Yeah, that's kind of the new Big Hero 6 since they can't actually do Big Hero 6 books anymore.
they
Can they do them
could,
anymore?
yeah, it's Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were pretty much just like a Disney thing now. Like you don't really
Yeah.
see the characters in the books
Yeah,
anymore.
and some of the movie itself was way different from the comic book
Yeah,
appearances. Holy
certainly
smoke!
so.
Oh yeah. So if you get your mitts on any Big Hero 6 literature, in our backstock we don't typically have a lot of it just because it flies so quick. There's some really cool story arcs out there, and definitely recommend checking them out.
So that's an older, like that's a series that was old, but they brought it back recently then?
Oh, for Tiger Division?
Yeah.
Tiger Division's brand new, so
Okay.
they just rolled it out. Now, some of the characters do have history throughout the MCU, but a lot of them are new, like within the past 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, which is crazy, and it just opens the door for more mythos in the future, which I'm all about. So I love it. Love it.
Yeah, Marvel has so many like on it like corners they explored for like 2 seconds,
Yep.
and then they're like, "Well, that was fun."
Yep. Yeah.
And I just really like their vampire stuff. They're they're doing that thing Unforgiven now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're doing that.
Yep.
They're finally exploring that a little bit. What's another one like? They had. Give me one while I think about
You're
it. What's
good.
another unexplored one?
The Unforgiven, I just wanted to call out too. I got my mitts on the Fear Itself event a few years ago. Had the Dracula versus Hulk story arc, and I read somewhere that the Unforgiven actually originated or had presence in that 3-issue run. So I'm excited to read that first, and then I'm going to read the Spider-Man Unforgiven that came out a few weeks ago, and then this X-Men one, and then Captain America I think is next.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to just get the whole history with them and go from there. And it'll probably blend in with my upcoming projects
There
that I'm
you go.
doing. But I'm really excited about getting familiar with that from the start till now.
I suppose we got to wrap, since we're in the Midwest, we got to wrap the Great Lakes Avengers.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
team.
and that's another one. Get to know them. Shout out.
I don't know if maybe that last run though, man. I don't know.
It was rough. Shout out to Big Bertha and Doorman and
I thought it was
Plastic
funny.
Man? Not Plastic Man. What's his name?
His flat man.
Man? Flat Man.
Flat man.
Yeah.
His whole thing is that he's flat.
Yeah. Oh,
Girl
God.
Girl was their best character, and she was a reserve member.
It's terrible. But yeah, I definitely am entertained by that team as well. I do adore them. Yep.
I think it was a joke, but you know what? We got to rep our team no matter what.
Right.
Over here.
That's right. So that's who we got.
Yeah.
That's who we got.
Mark, who did you get for the USA Avengers or whatever? What hero did Tennessee get? Because we got Jack of Hearts and
we got Jack of Hearts, which has nothing to do with South Dakota.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I remember what you're talking about, but I
Yeah.
didn't remember who was on the cover.
I'm googling it.
Yeah,
we got
I
Jack.
did pick it up though. I remember that.
Oh, here we go. The Wasp.
Ah, very
What
cool.
one?
You got Janet.
Okay,
Yeah.
got Janet. Got it.
Yep. So
I
that's
realize I
cool.
can say that about almost every character now. It's like, oh, that character. Oh, which one? Nadia Pym. There's
Yeah.
like,
Oh my
what
gosh,
Hawkeye are
yeah.
you talking about? What Wolverine you talking about?
Oh man. Well, Sam, show
Here we go.
the people your presentation. I this is so crazy.
Well, I think I have to. I kind of wanted to maybe do an indie book, but so I'm glad that you did one, Mark.
Yeah.
But I thought about it. I was like, no one else would talk about this man other than me. So I feel it's my obligation to bring up this book because he's somehow one of my favorite characters, and he is forever the joke of the Justice League, depending on when you started reading.
Oh boy.
You want to take a guess on who it is?
The joke. Not Green Arrow.
Aquaman.
No, Aquaman's dope now.
Oh, I like him. I just think
Yeah, like maybe if this was like 2006,
Yeah.
we like that would be the one, but it's
Yeah.
actually Cyborg.
Oh,
okay.
legit. Okay.
Cyborg is one of my favorite heroes, and he got a book in around 2016 for DC Rebirth,
Mhm.
and that is probably his most definitive run, probably of all time right now. I don't like. There's some stuff in the past when he was like a Teen Titan, but that he had to share that book, so there a lot of that stuff was intertwined with a lot of other things. This book right here from Rebirth, and I do apologize for my light. I have a very dark room. Is probably the most definitive Cyborg run you're going to get. And it went for 23 issues. Very interesting thing about those 23 issues is 18 of them are the only ones you really need to read.
Oh.
The first 18 are written by John Semper Johnson. No, John Semper Jr. I always put Johnson for some reason. And he wrote a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon show back in the day. And so he's a pretty prolific TV writer. But so he got attached to the Cyborg book in around 2016, and he said, I'm going to make my Cyborg here. And it's pretty much what I would perceive as Cyborg these days. What I mean by that, the first 18 issues are written by him, and it is a clean, precise arc that is just Victor Stone. If you read nothing other about Victor Stone, you read those 18 issues, you got him as a character. The whole hook of the book is that he wonders if he has a soul still, because he's robotic, and he hears a message about it that his dad had said, because his dad's a dick. He says I don't even know if I saved my son, or this is just a pale imitation of my son. I don't know. He hears this and hears that he had a lot of his memories removed, and he goes on this what turns out to be an 8-month quest in these 18 issues to figure out if he has a soul, and he never fully gets it. He never fully like learns that if he has one, but he goes like, well, you know what? I'm going to live my life the best because I believe I have one, which is the most like yes and no ending, but is the most like fitting for like a comic like this. And it is an up and down ride of hilarity and heady nonsense, and I love it. Because like I said, I love a story that goes with its idea. Full stop. It's not stopping for nobody else. There's no cameos. This is just what it is. And some weird things happen with the character, but that's what John Semper Jr. wanted to do. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done that, but cool. Let's keep going.
Let's go.
It probably has his version of the Joker, which is a character named Anomaly, which is a weird basket case of how his origin is. And his whole thing is that Silas created him, like cloned himself using like engineerable cells to save Victor's mom because his mom dies, and that's like a lot of his pathos. And he goes like, I'm going to create these cells to save her, and these cells make these clones, and one of the clones gets out and develops a hatred for Silas and his actual son. So he's like, well, I'm going to ruin you now. And it is just a train ride of just sometimes like Silver Age ridiculousness and then weird, overly heady stuff that I think some of the readership probably went like, what now?
Yeah.
And I think what was I was going to say about it? Apart like some of the really silly things is like some of the characters they try to make for villains for Cyborg. They're trying to make his rogues gallery, and one of them is my favorite creation of all time. It's a character called Hate Bit, H8 Bit. His whole thing is that he was a close friend of Cyborg. That when that Victor forgot because of amnesia, that was like had an addiction to hacking, I guess. And so he went to jail because he hacked into Star Labs. And the only thing he could get his hands on to hack was a Game Boy. And this Game Boy of his decides he finds a way to get into the 8-bit dimension through a Game Boy. Only in the Silver Age could this happen, but it found a way to work in this book. And he goes, and Cyborg finds a way to boom tube, finds this like land that 8-bit creates, what is just basically like asteroids world. It's like all the little 8-bit things together, and he's just like how 8-bit talks is just so over dramatic about the nonsense that is going on. He goes like, how dare you give me access to Star Labs codes? That's like giving smack to an addict. How dare you do that? I blame you. Just the most absurd nonsense. But then the book later goes on and goes, we're also going to talk about, do you remember in Dawn of X or 10 of Sword, not 10 of Powers of 10 or Dawn of X?
Yeah.
When they talked about like omniscience in like universes and stuff.
Yep.
It gets into that later in the series. It talks about a huge retcon for the mother boxes, where the mother box is a bunch of super intelligences that linked up together to make an omni intelligence. And the mother box is a physical representation of what is called a digital verse that is sent into the physical world to see people who see like lands and people who they would deem worthy to join with them. Nobody else talks that origin. That is not the origin of the other mother box anymore. Only if you read this book. And it is just I love it because it's absurd. I love it because it's it's not afraid to get very heady at times, because I think once they got to that point, I'm pretty sure no one was reading that book. And the characters like Hate Bit is a character. There's one called Malware, who is just a giant creature that is malware. They brought Kilgore back from the Justice League Limited series in it. They have what's another good they have a character called the Lord of Rats, who is just this like pimp looking fool who just carries rats around with it. Like rats just swarm around him, and then the main bad guy Anomaly uses these cells to mutate him into like a robot called Rat Attack.
Oh god.
Just ridiculous characters, but then they're like, also we're going to talk about super intelligences here. Just throws you through like so many loops. And before I go too far, I do know that I'm going crazy here.
You're
Actually,
representing it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Issue 18 is the last of Semper's run, but it does keep going. But it is just take all you've read, throw it in the trash. Issue 19 is like a hard reboot without telling you it's a reboot. It's literally a 2-issue story going through the same thing. And if you've read a little bit of Cyborg, you end up going yes, Cyborg, we are aware that you used to not be a robot man. Can you not be so whiny about it still? This is issue 11. Let's keep going here. But in issue 19, they bring it back up, and that basically just throws all the development away. So if you want to stop at 18, I actually encourage it. But it does keep going after 19. It does another hard reboot where the original creator of Cyborg, Marv Wolfman, at least one of them, George Perez also created him, but just the author, takes over the book and was scheduled to go to fit to 25. So he took over on issue 20 and wrote to 23. What do you think happened next?
Cancel, reboot.
That book got canceled so hard.
Sucks.
And the worst part about it is it left on a huge cliffhanger. It basically ends with Cyborg being entrapped by this whatever villain saying, it's I'm going to take your tech because I'm going to die without taking it. So I'm going to choose me over you. And he basically does. And that's how it ends. Cyborg gets his tech taken. And the story's never talked about again.
He's got another series coming. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I am very excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read it all now, so I can be kind of cyborged out for a little bit, and then the book comes out. Because I read literally 23 issues in 2 days.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you had read this monthly when it came out, or if you read it like that. Or okay,
I did. I reread it also.
Okay, you reread it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So normally I wouldn't be this all right, I got it all here, but I reread it. And one last thing I'll bring up is that Cyborg is very okay with people just dying around him. One of the characters, he just kills people in this. He's well, I mean, he was a bad guy. He's he deprograms a person, and that basically is his death. It's well, I won't see that guy again. Hate Bit dies, who was his close childhood friend that he just realized was his friend. And he goes well, I'm dead now, sorry. And Cyborg doesn't even think about it.
It's kind of dark.
It's this is only the things you pick up on. I think I was maybe 20 when I was reading this. So at the first time, so reading it now, I'm going wow, that Cyborg, you want to think about this? Are you okay, man? People are dying left and right around you, and you kind of killed a lot of people. Are you good, man? But I love the series because it's probably the most definitive Cyborg series you're going to get out there. And yes, it's goofy. Yes, it gets a little up its own butt sometimes. But it's the cleanest story that Cyborg's ever going to get, probably. Because I don't think this new one that's coming out is going to last that long. because
Ooh. Okay.
I'm gonna buy every issue. Trust me, but I'm gonna be one of 6 people doing it.
So do you feel like this upcoming series is part of Dawn of DC? Question
It's
mark.
gonna be. It's gonna be.
Like,
It's part of it.
is DC really dawning, or are we gonna sunset really quick?
Well, it's gonna be. Well, Cyborg's gonna be like get maybe 6 issues, and that's gonna be it.
Right.
And I'll love it,
Yeah.
and I'll be the one.
I'm giving you crap. It's fine.
You know, it's fair. I'm well aware that he's a super tangented character, and
Yeah.
like reading his stuff is kind of like reading what's another character like that, like liking Azrael is your
Yeah.
main guy. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you might get a book every once in a while, but you're not going to get an ongoing.
Yeah.
So this is probably this is a unicorn of a book if you like Cyborg.
How much intersection with the other titles did Cyborg do during its run?
None.
Okay.
It literally did none. It was its own thing, and the only person who ever crossed over was Beast Boy, and it was a digital universe version of Beast Boy. So it wasn't even the real Beast Boy, because apparently, like the whole storyline was they're in the digital verse, and there's a virus in this, a technovirus, and the only person able to was immune to it was Beast Boy because he kept changing his DNA because he's an animal dude, and he goes like, maybe I'll meet the real Beast Boy someday, because he hadn't met him at the time.
Sure.
And that's the only character that crosses over that is not a Cyborg-esque character, and he gets his own little like he gets his Perry White and his Lois Lanes. He gets other heroes around him that are eccentric to him. He's the Superman of this like Detroit universe.
Yeah. So
it is a unicorn of a book, and I wanted to bring it up and at least put more eyes on it.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I imagine there's probably many floppies available to buy.
I gotta be honest too. Like when we were talking through our books tonight, I mean, for me, like mine are exciting to me, but for anybody else, it's probably exactly that. Like, oh, I saw it on the shelf, and and I gotta be honest. Like with Cyborg, I'm guilty of this, where I'm just like, exactly that. Like, I don't know if it could be good. I don't know the character super well, but I've seen him in Teen Titans, or whatever. But like, yeah, this is exactly why we're doing this show. I had no idea that those kinds of characters exist. It actually resonates with me a little bit because I love the old 2099 stuff. I'm actually power collecting the Ghost Rider.
It's been great, yeah. Like I've been doing a little reread on that too. It's been fun.
And I love that campy tech stuff that's just over the top, digital everything. And that sounds like it actually might be my jam, ironically.
It shocks, man.
So no, I appreciate you taking the time to talk through it.
Yeah, thanks for just letting me go off, by the way.
Yeah. Sam came prepared, you guys.
It's like contagious, like it made me want to read it.
Well, by all means, man. I definitely recommend it. If you don't want to buy the floppies, you can get it on the DC Universe app for free. It's a free read there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite series of all time, and it has the goofiest villains. Hate Bit is still one of my favorite things in the world. I wish he would come back. Please bring Hate Bit. If I ever become a writer for DC Comics, I'm bringing Hate Bit back. That's what I'll say.
Hate Bit get his own series.
Dude.
Solo series.
Call me up. I'll do it.
Let's go. Dawn of DC. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. Thanks for letting me gush about that.
Yeah. No, you did awesome, man. That was awesome. Yeah. So I guess we got a little bit of time yet. So let's just talk about a recent book that we're digging. Maybe we read it, maybe we didn't, but we procured it for a reason to add to our collection. How's that?
Well, I got one.
All right. Mark, you are up.
I got two that kind of go together here. This one I think came out last year, maybe around the summertime, but I think baseball season was over, but wanted to lift it up because baseball season starts tomorrow. This is Three Stooges Play Ball. And just real quick, Curly looks like one of these Major League Baseball players, and the mob has like this gambling debt they're trying to resolve, and like they hypnotize Curly into being that major league player and like kidnap that major league player, and it's wacky, ridiculous Three Stooges stuff. I thought it was really fun and funny, and I just loved reading it right before baseball season starts.
I love the Three Stooges.
Yes, man, love
grew up on them. It was so great.
Cartoons, the show, everything.
Oh yeah, I had a DVD box set that I would constantly watch.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
And then just going along right with that, this is a book my friend got me for Christmas, actually, and we're in a fantasy baseball league together. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. But it's a comic
serious
book.
Commitment right there.
Yeah, and it's a comic book of like the history of baseball. So like it just breaks down everything, just like to just show what it looks like on the inside there.
Oh, that's cool.
Who wrote that?
So I have not started reading this yet. I've just read like the synopsis of it. And of course I got it for Christmas, but I was like, I kind of want to wait till baseball season to start reading it. So I will probably read this tonight before bed, at least start it. So look forward to that.
You're going to totally finish it. I mean,
I might, man. I fall asleep though where that happens.
You're going to be rolling into work like, bro. That's awesome.
That.
All right, Sam, what you got?
So I found this book offhandedly on the shelves randomly, and I have the third issue with me right now, but the first two issues came out not too long ago. But I have Fear of the Red Planet. This is my indie book of choice. It is all about the first murder on a mining base on Mars. It's like it has like a.
That sounds like fun.
It was like it is a book that like it has a very simple premise, but it uses that premise to expand on a world so much bigger than just this premise. It talks about the black market on Mars. It talks about like all the characters and what they do and why they're there, and like how it's the company that's doing all the mining wanted to replace all the miners with robots, but one of the folk heroes of the area destroyed this something. I don't know quite yet. I haven't read this issue particularly yet to stop them so they can continue working. But he has an immense debt now, so he's probably going to stay on Mars forever. And it's gritty. It's basically every like neo-noir story you've ever read or watched, but on Mars. And that's just very cool to me.
Heck yeah. Wow. Gosh, you might have sold me on that.
It's right there, man. It's waiting for you. You know, it's like it's really good.
Well, I also have an indie book
to
talk about. I don't. It's not. But I am interested in that one, just for the record. I jokingly call this an indie book because it's very exciting for me. But this is geeking out about scary things Marvel. You know how I feel about this. I have a Spirit of Vengeance #1. This is a second printing of variant cover.
This is the most John book ever right here.
Yeah, super cute. We got Ghost Rider, we got Blade, we got the Son of Satan hanging out there. But let's kick it up a notch.
There you go.
I love doing some reading. So I got the Marvel Universe Handbook of Mystic Arcana,
My
the book
God.
of Marvel magic.
Dude, I would eat that up.
I am so excited to just sit back and be like, So I am totally going to read this from cover to cover and get my learn on, because that is a great resource before I hit all these old books. And that way I can kind of be like, oh yeah, that's who that is. Because I used to review the old Marvel trading cards and stuff, reading the backs of them. That's how I would learn all these characters in X Factor and X Force and stuff. And these kinds of things are so exciting to me. I've actually been thinking about seeing what, about getting like a whole set of these official handbooks.
Cards like these?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just so fun, but just a fun little resource. So I am really excited. If I haven't mentioned it on here before, you guys, spooky streams are coming onto YouTube this fall, and more to come there. It'll be super fun, all through a comic book look, and it'll be awesome. So, and I'll have Mark and Sam on as guests. It'll be amazing.
Oh, well, fantastic.
It'll be amazing. Yeah, I think that it was a really crazy weekend book. Sam, you're going to see the wall tomorrow. It was crazy for me today. Ultimately just kind of a cool time right now. So I'm excited. Before we shut the show down, does anyone else have anything they want to lift up? Shout out to Wildcats on
Wildcats.
Shout out to Wildcats. Shout out to Gen 13.
Yeah.
Did y'all pick that book up, Waller versus Wildcats or something like that? Came
Had
out
a couple
today?
of customers check that out today.
Did that come out this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
I
picking
didn't
it
pick
up
it
when
up.
I get
I just
home.
saw it in
When
the
I get
store.
there.
Wonder
It's
if it's
happening.
any good.
The art looked really cool.
Yeah. That's an interesting premise too. So
Yeah, I think it's a steep price. It's like one of those more like $7.99, $6.99.
Oh, that yeah. Is it like it's a premium book?
Prestige?
Yeah.
it's
format,
the well, it's a black label format, so it's slightly
Yeah.
bigger. Yeah. So no, I'm actually kind of curious about it. Actually, it came up a couple times at the till.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, cool. I guess with that, we'll shut the show down. We are nearing the hour, 50-minute mark here, but we did amazing. So thank you guys so much both for your time tonight. Tom, by the way, you guys, Tom was not able to join us. He sends his apologies. He had another commitment that came up, and so he is saving the world there, but we will hopefully have him back next week. And Sam, Rockstar guest here. Again, if you guys are in the Sioux Falls area, want to come say hi to Sam. He is at Rainbow Comics with us, rocking and rolling, doing the sports cards, rocking the comics, and just being an awesome human being, which is what we love at the shop. Yeah, Sam, do you have anything else that you want to lift up about yourself or about your books that you're enjoying in general?
Well, if you so desire, that this is what I'll tell you, everybody. If you so desire to, I do review books on a TikTok. I do. It's called the TikTok's called Nullman12. I don't know why I called it that. To be honest with you, it was before I thought of making stuff on it. But I review books on it. I review stuff or just talk about my hot takes a lot of times because otherwise, other than work now, I never got to talk about the comics too much. So I was like, so I'll go off there and go, so here's my thoughts on this book randomly, and I'll go off for like 2 minutes. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. It's called Nullman12, if you so desire. Otherwise, don't worry about it.
Is it all Cyborg reviews?
It's not all Cyborg reviews. I thought about doing one before I came on, though. What's that?
How do you spell it?
NOL.
I should look it up too.
NOL man 12.
12?
Yeah,
right, I'm just posting it in the comments.
Oh, you're too kind. Yeah, cool. If you feel so, if you desire to, go ahead. Otherwise, don't worry about it. It's just mainly me rambling about nonsense. But other than that, I encourage you to go read some Cyborg or like a book that you thought about doing but you never did, because you never know, you might fall in love with a character you didn't think you would.
That's right. Oh,
Reading Rainbow.
We got a comment that came through here. Facebook user, this is a comic book look as a group. This is how it translates into StreamYard. It doesn't bring the name of the person over, which is so dumb. But this is
Facebook user.
Right. So this is actually my friend Travis from Team Supercon, amazing human being. So Trav, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate the support, man. Well, cool. Well, Sam, thank you again for being on. You survived your first of many, hopefully, episodes of a comic book look. You're always welcome back.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. First podcast ever, actually.
Oh, dude, well, you slayed it, and you did a really good job, and you totally made Mark and I believers in Cyborg. Like, now when I look at the series, I'm gonna be like, there's some like awesome heft to this. Like, I love that, and it makes me think again of like Ghost Rider 2099. So I could see myself easily cracking open some of those issues and enjoying them. So thank you for appealing to the courts of us, I guess. Which we should do a courtroom thing sometime. That'll be fun.
That would be great. Yeah.
We're going to get a gavel, Mark. We're going to get a gavel.
I like it.
Order in the carts. All right. But shutting down the show here, we are a comic book look, proudly sponsored by Rainbow Comics. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, stop by and say hi to Sam and myself. If you're in the Lincoln area, rumor has it we have a store down there, which we sure do. Say hi to Taylor and the team. They are awesome human beings. Mark can be found on the socials, Mark C. Shelton 1. I am at John on Demand on the Twitters and Instagrams as well. Get familiar. If you're tuning in on YouTube, join our Facebook group, A Comic Book Look, to continue the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. If you are interested in guesting on the show, send us a note. We'd love to hear from you as well. Until next time, I am so excited about this all coming together. And Sam, thank you so much for bringing this idea to the table.
Absolutely. It was a blast to come on. Tell you what.
Sam was also concerned about having a beer on camera, and I told him we've been
it was like, hang on, guys. Like, is this all right?
You're gonna fit right in.
Like this.
You're gonna fit right in. It's totally fine.
Just water for me.
But in a flash. Boom. That's right. Well, we'll see you guys hopefully next week. And hopefully we'll have a Tom with us next week too. And we will definitely try to get Sam on soon, try to twist his arm a little bit and do some more book reviews that way. But we'll go ahead and shut it down. When we shut down an episode of A Comic Book Look, I usually hit you with the Keep It Comics and stop the end button. So Keep It Comics. But I'm going to let Mark steal the show and do his thing.
Bagging and boarding is never boring.
Peace. And then we say goodbye. And then we'll see you guys on the replay.